Let's go to, it's actually going to be two things. Let's go two parts. One, let's talk about structural tile, or even, which I really think is one of the best products ever that I ever had to deal with and sell, is structural glazed tile. I sold a lot of Stark products over the years. I think for bathrooms and schools or whatever, I don't think there's a better product. They go to this colored and painted block or whatever. I think it's the worst mistake anybody's ever made. But the structural glazed tile is just awesome. You're much more familiar with structural tile than I am through all the years that it's done, even though I had a chance to, be the glaze man, spray glaze foreman when they did structural glaze tile at Hanley. So the 6Ts and all that, is part of my history. But then go into from that, talk a little bit about drain tile versus the tubing that's happening today. So, because there was a huge market for that tile years ago.
Right. Well, so many of the manufacturers years ago used to be, John Doe Brick and Tile Company. And when they were talking tile, they were generally talking structural clay tile. Before concrete block, all the basements in homes and foundations and partition tiles in office buildings and hotels and motels were built out of clay tile. And that was the market. And the structural clay tile was fantastic because it was a very waterproof product. It doesn't pass water through like concrete block does, and it was a fantastic product. But the largest sizes were for structural walls were A512s, 8 inches through the wall, 5.5 inches tall, and 12 inches long. Then along came concrete block, and it wasn't a better product, but it was bigger, went into place, it was cheaper, and went in the wall on a per square foot basis, much less costly than structural clay tile. And a lot of manufacturers didn't make structural clay tile, didn't want to, and so we lost the market. Not because concrete block was better, it wasn't a better product, but it was cheaper, quicker to lay. Block layer would get more square footage laid up on the wall in a day, and so the partition tile business was big. And Mayo Clinic, for instance, in Rochester, Minnesota, the original buildings were all structural clay tile partition walls. They were 12 by 12s that were extruded with grooves in them so they would accept a stucco coat. Coating this, you'd stucco them or plaster them, and that's the way the partitions were built. Well, then 2x4 studs took over, and along came metal studs much later. That wasn't a problem, but we lost that market, and eventually structural clay tile just became a thing of the past. Now, structural glazed tile was another product, a super product. And it was, every armory and school and the corridors and bathrooms all built out of structural clay tile. Architects and Stark and Elgin Butler were the last 3 companies that I know of that made it. Architects went out of business, and then Stark went out of business, and finally that left Elgin Butler as the only one remaining.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
And it's here again, it's just a great product. And of course the concrete people developed these coatings on the face, not coatings, but facial applications, Spectra glaze, yeah. And they weren't better.
They were not.
They weren't better, but they were a satisfactory substitute and cheaper.
I would do I would set up both products next to each other, and I would take a little torch and I would do a fire test and see it start smoking as fast. But structural glazed tile, you'd have it on all day long and it wouldn't affect it. Or take a marker and put on a marker on it and do all those things. Rick Baker was in the industry years ago, shot me all that, so I made a kit. And I would tell the architects we'd have to go outside to do it because it's not safe to do it inside. He says, what do you mean it's not safe? You're gonna put a torch on it? Why can't you put a torch on it? Well, it gives off fumes, gives off off-gassing. What? So you go outside, you torch it and see it for themselves. But,
absolutely. So it's a product that I saw, just fall to the wayside because of competing products, mainly block. And then a lot of in the Midwest, Ohio, certainly Ohio West, a lot of the companies made drain tile for draining the farm fields. And they were 12 inches long in various sizes, 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch, 8-inch, 12-inch diameter. And that was a great market for many, many years. And then plastic tubing came into being and it took the market.
And not green. It's not a green product, right?
Not a green product, but one guy could pick up a coil that's 30 feet long and throw it on his shoulder and drag it across the field. And you can handle one tile in each hand is about all you can do at a time.
Yeah.
And so it was a labor issue. And again, plastic tubing, it wasn't better, but it was more economical, and so we lost the drain tile market. And there are other products I'm sure I could think of if I put my mind to.
But if you think about the schools with all the painted block, which just don't look good in your hallways, I know a lot of them get covered up with pictures and other stuff that they do, but the burnish block came in heavy, which is still here today.
Yes.
They've done it. They've done a good job marketing and promoting it, and the burnish block and all different kind of products comes from all over the country,
Yes.
south to west, and that's taken a lot of the market share that structural glazed tile would have had.
Definitely.
It's all gone to it, unfortunately.
Yeah.